So I think there's a lot happening, but I do believe, and this came out at our ICT conference, that there's an awful lot now needed for engagement right from the earliest stage of industry, explaining within the schools what an ICT career is like, so that people do see it as a choice and break the stranglehold that the traditional professions, I suppose, have on people's thinking and parents' thinking. I think having placements during transition year, having placements through the various stages of the curriculum are really important for the future. I think another part that's really positive in the story is the story about the investment by Ireland in research. We have clawed our way up. I think we're now recognised as being in the top 20 in terms of the way in which we've used the money effectively to generate an impact on the commercial environment. And that's very important. Last year we launched 7 centres, research centres, and the key test is not only scientific excellence, but that 30% of the funding would come from industry, and industry ponied up in that respect. 150 companies ponied up 100 million to participate in those centres. I think that's a great model that we need to deepen, so that the thought leadership that occurs in Ireland is, from its inception, relevant to the sort of challenges that companies face. It is ultimately a huge feedstock of over 3,000 people who are, if you like, at the leading edge in their technology. The other interesting thing that SFI is doing is recognises that we need to attract some top talent, not just super top talent, to bring to some of our colleges the very top people within those sectors. And that's something that I know they have in a number of areas attracted individuals of exceptional talent to be in the heart of some of those research centres. I think that again helps it to be a magnet and make it more relevant. The other exciting thing that I think is happening here is the whole startup environment. Last week, or just earlier this week, we had the launch of what we call high potential startups. Between them, about 188 enterprises supported by Enterprise Ireland. 60% of them were in the ICT area, which just shows the dynamism of that sector. I know that the indigenous sector, it's a really rapid growth sector here. I think there's Enterprise Ireland reckon there's over 600 enterprises in that sphere. And those indigenous companies, they have a tough time attracting talent in competition with the iconic names. And I know that you've formed It's Happening Here, and there's other initiatives to ensure that talent is attracted. But we did an EU discussion of this last year when we had the presidency. It was one of the themes we discussed, and Charlotte Dooley was there, and he was laying out, their experience. And it's interesting that the small dynamic company can be just as much a magnet for talent as the more, I suppose, institutionalized big beasts of the talent environment. So maybe it's not always as handicapped. But I think the challenge for Ireland is to continue to build out hotspots for startups. I think the work that Paddy Cosgrove does around Dublin Web Summit shows that we are building up something really exciting and different. We just commissioned an entrepreneurship forum with Sean O'Sullivan to look at what can we do, and ironically it came back to the same thing, that it's not all about government. Government can do a certain amount, but an awful lot of it is about what you who are entrepreneurs can do in creating a network, in feeding off one another, in helping people to foresee and overcome the sort of snags and potholes that face any startup business. So it is about how do we create a network, and he has some interesting ideas about how people would make, people who are a success would make a certain slice of time available to build out that network, that environment for entrepreneurship. So I suppose it's, the more I've seen this job, the more it is really not about we in Kildare Street or anywhere else, thinking out grand strategies. It's all about how do we build partnerships with people like yourselves who are working at the coalface to do something, to create an environment that is stronger. And I think the heartening thing is, we are really making good progress. When you look at where we've come from, the collapse, 16% of our employment being wiped out. The last 12 months, Irish entrepreneurship has created, 62,000 jobs in the Irish economy, a growth of 4% in private sector employment. It is a performance that, there aren't many. I don't think even in the Tigers of the world, they aren't doing that. Yes, it's a bounce back from a very difficult time, but it does show that the skill base, the talent, the entrepreneurship, the drive is here. The question is, how do we harness it and integrate it into our systems in government to make that sustainable growth from that whole environment. So that's the challenge that we face, and I think the collaboration that has been built with Silicon Republic being one of the thought leaders in this sphere and churning up every year is a really valuable tool. So thanks very much for the opportunity to be here. I hope you have a great day, and I hope that there is some learning that we can take back from your deliberations on the day. And I suppose the last thing, because I see Sue is just probably going to pop up here, the participation of women in ICT is continually, while it's progressing, it's not where it ought to be. But in the HPSUs, in 2012, there were only 16 women started up a high potential company. This year it was 41. So some of the effort we're putting into creating a better environment to bring forward women of talent is working. And I know Enterprise Ireland is absolutely committed to this area. It's something that I put very much our own effort behind, and it is working, and we want to deepen that for next year. And I think it will be interesting to hear what Sue has to say from her experience. So thanks very much indeed for the opportunity, and Godspeed during the day.